My passion for farming began when I was a little boy. My mother used to have to sew patches on my jeans because I crawled around with toy tractors and wore them out on the ground. So I guess God made me to be a farmer, is all I can say about that, because I've always been interested a lot in machinery and a whole lot in growing crops. So that's where my passion for farming began when I was a little bitty boy. A mission for and a statement about my life would probably be, I'd like to think that I've lived my life in such a way when I'm gone that I left this world a better place than I found it. My mornings begin right now at this time of year. I start at Brahms getting a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit and a Coke. And when you leave the Altus and start out here, sometimes things change real fast. They don't always go as planned. It just depends on the seasons, the time of year, what we're doing. Planting season is my favorite time. Harvest and planting is my favorite time because it's always real cool to start a new crop, and it's always real cool to be able to harvest the crop that you started. You know, I don't think that I've ever had a failure in business. There's been ups and downs. You learn from your ups and downs. So I don't really consider things that didn't go the way I wanted them to as a failure. I can consider them a learning experience, something that we can expound on and correct later. And in farming, a lot of things that you think are wrong are not always wrong every year. So maybe it wasn't a mistake. So I mean, you open up every day and every year with a new idea that sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. The innovations have changed a lot in the years that I've been farming. Guidance is one of the things that we use a lot. I'm not real good on it. That's why I've got these young guys around, because I have a cheat sheet under the armrest and every piece of equipment that I've got to look, but if it gets lost, I have to call them, tell them how to set it up for the field. But they usually set it up for me, and then I get along pretty good. But probably guidance would be one of the greatest things that helps us, because, you know, over the years it'd be real dusty and you couldn't see where you'd been, and then you overplan a lot not having guidance, and it just takes the stress off of running a piece of machinery all day. My goals for the future would be to try to improve what we're doing, make it better. And again, I said this a while ago, you know, I'm 65 years old, and I hope I have a lot of time left to see how some of these things turn out. But I would like to think that by that, you know, I can do what I have done will be a help to the generations behind me. The biggest accomplishment in my life is probably depending on God and my family, and in that order, because agriculture is a business that it's all dependent on God. Weather, everything you do is dependent on what God deals you. And those are the most important things in my life, and my family next. And my family doesn't just include my wife and kids. I mean, it's people that are close to me, and I've got a lot of those folks. I feel like as a farmer and in our community that we need to be very involved in the community. It's very important to become involved in the community because you have generations coming behind you. And as my life has gone by, the amount of farmers has diminished. I mean, for instance, Brandon and I probably farm land that probably 20 farmers farm. And so you have a lot of young farmers coming up, and you want to be an inspiration to them because times are not always going to be good. And you have to, you know, encourage them. I'm involved with the Jackson County Junior Livestock Show as a general superintendent. Enjoy that. Enjoy seeing the kids. And that's what inspires me and brings joy to me, to see these young kids growing up. I mean, we've seen them, little bitty tykes, growing up into grown people that are doing the same thing we're doing now. So that's interesting. To be involved with the FSA, I served 11 years on Jackson County FSA board, and I'm currently serving as a state executive board. So I've enjoyed that. That's a lot of fun to be on those boards and meet people from different parts of the state. So it's pretty important to be involved in the community and be involved with what you're doing. Have a say in what you're doing. I mean, know people that can make a difference and be able to contact them when you see something that might help our industry. I try to help someone succeed in the industry of agriculture. I think you need to be a positive encourager. I have some young people tell me sometimes, well, when's this going to get better? And I say, well, one told me when wheat was $12 a bushel, he said, boy, when's this going to get better than this? I said, son, if it's not working for you now, it's never going to, because we've never seen $12 wheat and may never see it again in my lifetime. But it's important to have, you know, an influence and to have some contact with younger generations. And I said, the biggest thing is to encourage them and live your life in such a way that you're not bogged down in old ways. Be open to new ideas. And that's where I think that it's important for me to be involved with young people, because I pick up on a lot of new ideas. Farmers have a tendency to do everything the way they used to do it and do what the guy across the fence had done. Well, if you watch the guy across the fence all the time, in my case, you may be doing it the wrong way, because I may not be doing it right but half the time. The next generation farmer is going to have to be one that is innovative. He's going to have a lot of grit, have to have a lot of perseverance for what's going on in the world, because you're dealing with market changes, you're dealing with weather issues, you're dealing with, problems that other countries are having that influence your markets. You're dealing with environmental issues where people are always against what you're doing for whatever reason it is, the chemicals you're using or how you treat livestock. There's a lot of things out there that come into play with the industry that we live in. A Manitou telehandler is a pretty cool piece of machinery. We've never had one, but it's like everything else we've had on this farm that we got along without. For instance, we bought a backhoe several years ago, and I wouldn't be without one on the farm, so that's probably the same thing that we'd be using one of those for. I mean, I can see a lot of uses for it for handling hay, or it has a high lift capacity if you need to lift something high. And so, I mean, we've never had one on the farm to use, but I'm sure we'd find a lot of uses for it. I hate to think about deserving anything, because I don't believe anybody deserves anything. They're just blessed with an opportunity I feel very blessed to be chosen as one of the ones to maybe have an opportunity to receive this. As far as deserving it, I don't know that I deserve anything. But I just want to thank you all for your time and being here to visit with us, and enjoy meeting all of you.